This is part 8 of my Kawasaki Z750 Cafe Racer project. After stripping the original carbs down, I could see they were badly in need of a rebuild kit and a lot of cleaning. I bought a Dynojet kit, stage 3, and this should have sorted out the mixture balance with the air pods that I was using. Once I had these fitted, I moved on to completing the refurbishment of the brake calipers. Soaked those in diesel for a couple of days, I think it was, and that made them a lot easier to clean up. Also had a friend to blast the old pistons out with a grease gun. This little handy Dremel tool came really useful, just to clearing out all the channels and little bits. New piston kits had arrived. A little bit of silicone spray. Managed to get those fitted in. There were three almost identical calipers. I'd used another front caliper on the rear because that was missing, but it turned out to be the opposite handed to what it should have been, and it was a little bit more reach with the hose cable. A friend of mine gave me a Triumph Rocket front mudguard, which he no longer required, and I set about chopping that down. Touched up the raw edge a little bit. That was all I needed to do on that, and of course then needed to get the collar match right. I used the original Rust-Oleum emerald green paint after masking off the red stripes, and finished it off with the matte lacquer that I'd used on the rest of the tank. I think it turned out pretty well. So this was when I was installing the caliper on the rear, which was an original front right-hand caliper, I think. So the actual inlet hose is at the rear and the bleed nipples at the front, and I guess that's the opposite way around to what it would have been. Took me about 15 minutes to get that fully bled. But the front brakes were a completely different story, and I have not solved this yet. I've had all sorts of ideas and tried different things, and I'm currently waiting for a vacuum pump and try and give that a try to actually suck the brake fluid through, because there must still be some air in there somewhere. Moved on to fabricating the number plate bracket. I'm going to mount that on the side of the rear axle. I think in Guernsey we have quite decent numeric numbers, although the 3 and 4 digit ones are getting really expensive now. So I've just stuck with the standard number for now. 13002, which, as you'll see, I think the number plate looks fairly decent. The Delkevic full system that I bought came with its own bracket, but the bracket's designed to mount on part of the frame which is now in the bin. So I quickly made up this simple bracket which did the job. Here we are again, trying to bleed the front brake. All sorts of techniques here, using an oil can to force the oil back up, the brake fluid rather, back up through the system. It does work, but as you'll see, the lever goes right in. These were the original carbs, and I was at this point I was just trying to set the levels. But as I've mentioned in the text, there were the actual float valves were not seating at all well, and this, no, I think it was number 3 carb, I just could not stop it leaking. And that's when I got onto eBay and I found this set of Kane CVK 34 carbs off a different bike, but luckily they fitted on.